Alô? Peço desculpa. Peço desculpa, já tínhamos feito testes, não é, Sr. Domenico? Mr. Guida?
Yes, hello?
Hello, sorry, we have already tested, have we?
Yes?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
test, yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Alô? Ah, faz eco. faz um pouco de eco. Está bem, sim. Mas eu não tenho nada.
Ora, quinta vez.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Vanguard Initiative Regional Conference. I will be presenting our president to make a small appointment to opening this conference, António Cunha.
Good morning, Raquel. Thank you for the invitation to be here. Good morning to you all. Dear Director for Innovation Programs of GAIN, Galicia Innovation Agency, Luisa Boquete. Dear Network Manager of Vanguard Initiative, Farah Bami. Dear speakers and participants, It is my pleasure, my great pleasure to address you in this opening session of the Vanguard Initiative Regional Conference, organized in context of the Galicia and the north of Portugal cross-border smart specialization strategy, what we call the RIS3T. This is an event that aims to share and to discuss with regional stakeholders of Galicia and Norte the activities of Vanguard Initiative, one of the most important European interregional networks related with smart specialization strategies. Norte and Galicia, besides geographical vicinity, have a strong historical, cultural, and economic links with an institutional cooperation that goes back to 1983. This metabolism and the vision of the leaders of those times were the drivers to found in 1991 the Galicia and North of Portugal Working Community, aimed at boosting the common resources of the territories. As a result of the joint work developed, it was also founded in 2008 the European grouping of territorial cooperation Galicia-Norte Portugal, one of the first initiatives of this kind in Europe. Within this successful story of strong cooperation network, Galicia and Norte approved in 2014 a joint investment plan defining the priorities for cross-border cooperation for the period 2014-2020. One of the main priorities of this investment plan was the promotion of the innovation of an innovative euro region, having as first objective the development of a cross-border smart specialization strategy. Continuing this pathway of joint collaboration that placed the euro region in the front line of the European Union in territorial cooperation, Galicia and North of Portugal cross-border smart specialization strategy was approved in 2015, being the first cross-border RIS3 at European level. As expected, this regional smart specialization strategy enabled the identification of priorities to guide the implementation of the public policies and the allocation of financial resources within the framework of R&D and innovation at the level of the euro region. In the specific case of this cross-border strategy, priority was given to 6 areas of cooperation, namely marine and biomass energy, agri-food and biotechnology industries, Industry 4.0, mobility industries, tourist and creative industries, and health and active aging. As part of this strategy, the Galician Innovation Agency GAIN and the North of Portugal Development and Coordination Commission, CCDR-N, and the Portuguese National Innovation Agency participate in the European cooperation project called IMPACT, RIS3T, approved under the cross-border cooperation program Interreg Portugal-Spain. This project aims the implementation of RIS3 cross-border cooperation actions in the euro region, fostering synergies and complementarities at cross-border level, the densification of international relationships, both in terms of knowledge generation and of economic integration in the interregional value chains, the participation in collaborative projects in the European networks associated to smart specialization. In this context, this Vanguard Initiative Regional Conference is an important action for this project and for this cooperation rationale. Vanguard Initiative is one of the most important European networks related to smart specialization strategies, involving 39 of the most industrialized regions in Europe, among them Norte and Galicia. These regions, or these two regions, are committed politically to lead by the example in delivering growth and jobs through industry-led interregional cooperation, co-creation, and co-investment on the basis of the smart specialization principles. On the other hand, this event also focuses in the presentation of examples developed in the Vanguard initiative pilot projects that are most relevant for the strategic area, or for one of the strategic areas of our joint smart specialization strategy, Industry 4.0. These pilot projects, having the objective to foster the emergence and the strengthening of European industrial value chains and the markets of future high potential, and also we have in our agenda digital innovation hubs and their relevance to digitalization of the manufacturing industry. Industry 4.0 is a strategic area since it consists in general in the application of digital transition process to certain specific sectors of the economic activity, adding other enabled technologies such as biotechnology, nanotechnology, or photonics. For one of the most industrialized cross-border areas of Europe, including in the domains of electric and future autonomous mobility, with major plants as PSA in Vigo and Bosch Continental or ZF on the north side, digitalization of industry is crucial. But more than that, 4.0 is about people and the new interfaces between human and machines in the industrial context. More than that, Industry 4.0 is about new business models, new ways to create value in the industry, namely through integrated product services enabled by digital technologies. This is why we do believe that the application of smart specialization paradigm across European regions provide an opportunity to better understand and to better combine actions, ensuring multi-level cooperation and articulation of different funding sources, thus contributing to a more efficient and effective innovation policy. Regional innovation ecosystems and European strategic value chains are therefore vital. Also to the post-COVID-19 recovery, and especially important to drive European digital transformation. Therefore, this event is a great opportunity to work more closely with Vanguard initiative, namely the pilots projects dedicated to Industry 4.0 to increase the network's presence in both member regions and to disseminate the activities of this network in order to engage more the regional stakeholders. I'd like to conclude wishing a very successful event and expressing my gratitude to Vanguard Initiative for accepting to organize this conference, and also my thanks to our partners in the Impact RIS3T project, and to the speakers that accept to share their experiences, and of course to all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President António Cunha. I would like to say that we are in the city of Porto. We are in the Norte Commission, Regional Development Coordination Commission, and we are the institutional responsible for organizing this conference, as our president said. So this conference is in a project that is also with the lead partner of the Galician Innovation Agency. That's why I would like to take the floor Luisa Boquete, who is director of the innovation programs for the last 3 years. Please, Luisa, give us.
Thank you, Raquel.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this regional conference of the Vanguard initiative. And I would like to thank especially our counterpart, CCDR-NORTE, for the organization of this conference, which is, I think, in fact, it's the third event that we organize in cooperation with the Vanguard initiative. Within and concretely, we do this for improve and to foster, to bolster our airstream, the airstream that we have between the north of Portugal and Galicia, and concretely within the Interreg project, Impact Risk Treaty, where we are collaborating not only with the CCDR-NORTE, but also with the National Innovation Agency of Portugal. So thanks both for the invitation. And I would like to take everybody that this event should be seen as a broader context of international collaboration. We need this collaboration for sure to ensure that we take full advantages of the opportunities of this new digital and green industrial framework. So that's why we are here. We would like to identify in this context, and especially with the Vanguard initiative, because Vanguard initiative is key for us. We need to identify some potential new demo cases that we can lead between north of Portugal and Galicia. And this leading is very important for us to improve our ecosystems, our innovation ecosystems, because we need to cope with new aims in the new period, 2021. This is the main objective of this event, but I think it's better. I will pass the floor to Paulo because this is the key man who knows what we're going to do in this event, and he's going to explain to you the framework and priorities that we have between Galicia and the north of Portugal, and the priorities we have in our three, and priorities that we are working with in our Interreg project, Impact Risk Treaty. So thank you for inviting me, sorry, and I will pass the floor to Paulo.
I would like to present Paulo Santos, who is a colleague of mine. So he works in the Norte Regional Development Coordination Commission, and he's the head of the Strategic Planning and Regional Development, and he's going to present the cross-border S3 Euro-region Galicia-Norte of Portugal. Paulo Santos, please have the floor. Thank you.
Well, good morning to all. Thank you, Raquel and Luisa. I want to start by saying that it's a pleasure to participate in this event associated to Vanguard initiative, and to have the opportunity to share with you the experience of our cross-border smart specialization strategy between two regions, the region of Galicia in Spain and the Norte in Portugal. Well, the time is short for this presentation. I'll divide it in three parts. The first one is related to what is the strategy. The second part, how we have been implementing the strategy. And the final part is some key topics of lessons of experience in order to share with you what we think should be improved for the future in this cross-border strategy. I don't know if... Okay, thank you. Starting, some of these facts and figures of the Euro-region were already referred by the president of CCDR-NORTE. This is the map of Europe and the regional innovation scoreboard. You can see there where are the two regions in the southwest of Europe. This is an Euro-region
with a significant size in terms of population, 6.5 million inhabitants, and also, as referred from the president, with a strong historical, economic, commercial, cultural, and geographical proximity. We are talking about two different administrative regions in what concerns the configuration, which is a big challenge. Spain is divided in political autonomous communities with several competencies, and in the case of Portugal, we have a more centralized country, and CCDR-N is a decentralized body from the public administration. But although this different administrative configuration, we managed to have a very strong institutional cooperation since 1983, as was referred, and the biggest moments were in 1991, the founding of the working community between the two regions, and 2080, the creation of the European grouping of territorial cooperation between the two regions, the third oldest of those existing in the EU territory. We have also strong economic relations. Galicia is Portugal's main trading partner, and North of Portugal is the Portuguese region that exports the most, representing almost 40% of the Portuguese exports. Despite this international dimension and economic activity, while the GDP per habitant is still below the EU 28 average in both regions, with Galicia between 75 and 90%, and in the case of North, below 75%, so being classified in the group of the less developed regions in EU. Well, but we still have some good news, and the news is that map from the Regional Innovation Scoreboard, and that both regions had a very interesting innovation performance, and this innovation performance has increased in the last Regional Innovation Scoreboard, with Galicia being classified moderate minus region, and with North with strong minus innovator, which gives to us a very big potential of cooperation between the two regions in what concerns R&D and innovation. Okay. Well, now about our cross-border smart specialization strategy. This is a result of very strong cooperation framework between the two regions, and it started with a political commitment. And this political commitment was the joint investment plan that was approved in 2014 that defines as the first priority to have a cross-border smart specialization strategy between the two regions. And so this cross-border smart specialization strategy was based in each one of the regional smart specialization strategy and was approved in 2015, being the first cross-border smart specialization in Europe. And I'd like to say to you that the cross-border strategy is the most advanced level of cooperation that is possible between two regions, having in mind the implementation handbook of smart specialization strategy that define the different levels of collaboration. So in what concerns our strategy, what we have defined was a coordinated approach in order to have a great effectiveness and impact of innovation policy. And we have mainly three objectives. The first one is to achieve higher critical mass levels based on the synergies and complementaries of innovation at the global value chain, to have a better use of different sources of funding and reinforcement of their complementarity. And we are very focused on the cross-border, transnational, interregional cooperation programs. And finally, to develop a connected actions in order to raise funds based on the competitive excellence of the Euro region. And here the focus was the H2020 program, and for the future, the new Horizon Europe program. So when we talk about smart specialization strategy, we are talking about defined priorities. In our case, we define 6 strategic collaboration areas. These were best areas where we find synergies with potential or existing cooperation opportunities. Naturally, we're based in our smart specialization regional priority domains. And so we have defined these 6 strategic collaboration areas. The first one is dedicated to marine and biomass energy, is particularly based on, we have natural resources in both regions with a great potential of economic valorization. Agri-food and biotechnology industries, well, here in both regions, the primary sectors, agriculture, fishing, forestry, food processing, are very important sectors, and we have a big opportunity of cooperation. Industry 4.0, which it is the theme of today's event, we are talking about all two industrial regions. This is why, for example, we are in Vanguard initiative, which focus on industrial regions. And so here is to reinforce all this, the industrial sector on both regions, namely in what concerns the digitalization of the industry. Fourth domain, mobility industries. In both regions, we have a very strong automotive sector, which we want to improve, and also to have an upgrade to other mobility sectors, such as the aeronautic sector. Tourism and creative industry is also an important domain. Galicia-Norte of Portugal share a series of common endogenous resources with a big potential of cooperation. And finally, health and aging active ages. Both regions have a similar demographic and socioeconomic characteristics, with a big challenge regarding aging of population, but we focus also in this domain in healthy lifestyle, and because of nowadays and because of the pandemic, the issue of public health is also a priority. Our governance model of the cross-border smart specialization strategy is this one. The aim is to promote the entrepreneurial discovery process. We have at the top a steering committee, which has the political level and has the strategic coordination of risks of the cross-border strategy. We have also a management team which assures the technical secretariat. Here, the three partners of the Impact Risk Project are the members of this technical secretary, the GAIN, Galicia Innovation Agency, CCDR-NORTE, and also the Portuguese National Innovation Agency. And finally, where the entrepreneurial discovery process happens is on the thematic working groups. We have 6 thematic working groups corresponding to each one of the strategic collaboration areas. And the focus of the work has been to help to identify priorities for each domain. And now we're working hard on the revision process, on the updating process of our cross-border smart specialization strategy. Now to the second part of the presentation, how we have been implementing this cross-border strategy. You have there some of the examples. The first group is related to the activities of the implementation and management of our cross-border strategy. We have set up all the governance structures, and in what concerns the thematic groups, the main activities were the diagnosis and prospective analysis, proposing and priorities lines of action, and now we are working with the thematic groups in trying to identify the future priorities, the future revision of our cross-border strategy. The tools are surveys and meetings, were the main tools that were used for these thematic groups. Now, a second group of activities is related to, we have a very a priority is the creation of an R&D and innovation observatory to monitor and evaluate the results obtained with the implementation of the cross-border smart specialization strategy. We have elaborated reports regarding monitoring the innovation projects approved in the context of cross-border programs, transnational programs, and the Horizon 2020 program. We have already mapped stakeholders and their capabilities in what concerns innovation. We are now concluding the monitoring R&D ecosystem indicators that will allow to monitor this R&D innovation system. We have created regional and international expert panels, and we will start with a benchmarking evaluation study to see how other experience in what concerns cross-border smart specialization strategy, how they went, and how we can identify some good practice in order to improve our cross-border strategy. Another group of activities that we have been implementing are related with training, information, and dissemination actions. Here we have two big objectives. The first one is the enhancement of partners and stakeholders' institutional capabilities. There are two examples in here. The Vanguard initiative has been a big partner of this activity. We have already first event with Vanguard about manufacturing, and now we are organizing today's event related with the pilot project in the industry 4.0 area. The second objective is also to boost use of instruments supporting innovation. We are quite focused on what will be the new instruments. We have organized several dissemination actions, events. You have some examples there, Horizon Europe, Cascade Funding, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, the new interregional innovation investment, Digital Europe and Green Deal, and we have several more activities we developed in order to disseminate new programs and instruments to support innovation in our Euro region. Finally, the last main group of activities are to boost the European innovation ecosystem. This is quite complex because it's here where we aim to prepare collaboration projects. The methodology that we are now working are international brokerage events. We have already organized one dedicated to innovation and manufacturing, and now we are preparing a big event, also an international brokerage event dedicated to the New Horizon Europe. In principle, it will take place in May and will be dedicated to the calls that are more related with our cross-border smart specialization strategy. Now, to end, some concluding remarks related with our experience of implementing the cross-border smart specialization strategy, as some of the topics that we want to share, and with the focus to improve our strategy in the future. The first one is at strategic level. The political commitment is essential for the success of this strategy. And now what we have done, between the two regions, we are now developing a new joint investment plan between Galicia and Norte of Portugal, and was in public consultation, but is there identified as a big priority to update our cross-border smart specialization strategy based on the review of both regional strategy and with an emphasis of joint research capacities of the region to address the post-COVID situation. A second topic that we think is quite important for the future is related with skills and capabilities. We need to continue to support the capacity enhancement of public authorities and stakeholders in designing, in implementation, in monitoring and evaluation of public policies related to smart specialization strategy. Another issue is also important to enhance that capacity in the financial instruments to implement the cross-border strategy, and namely the new financial instruments that will take place. A third topic that is relevant concerns internationalization. As you know, for the future smart specialization strategy, one of the key criteria will be to have collaboration, international collaboration activities in the cross-border strategy. We have to identify that. And so for us, it's not important just to have a cross-border smart specialization strategy. It is important because it's an essential issue of the internationalization of our regional smart specialization strategy. So we need to have this dimension in our strategy. And for Norte region, and I think for Galicia, one of the most important collaboration activities is this international collaboration activity, is this cross-border smart specialization strategy. And the aim is to promote synergies and complementarities at cross-border level to increase the density of international relations, both in terms of knowledge transfer and also in economic integration in interregional value chains. This is why, for example, the example of today, the Vanguard initiative approach is essential, is a very good example of how we can reach to interregional value chains. And how we do this to promote the participation in collaborative projects and also in international networks, such as the example of the Vanguard initiative. Two final concluding remarks. The first one related with governance. We set up our governance model, and we need to ensure the continuous support of this governance structure, and probably to create new thematic groups that we identified being important to focus in new areas that could emerge from the revision process of the cross-border strategy. And finally, the financial issue. We have identified that we need to improve the articulation between the implementation of the cross-border strategy and the financial programs. If you want to, it's not enough to have a strategy. We need to have the financial instruments that ensures the implementation of that strategy. We need to have a dedicated policy instrument for the cross-border SMAS specialization strategy. For example, the cross-border Interreg program should have a dedicated financial support, or for example, the cross-border smart specialization strategy should be an evaluation criteria for projects, or even to launch thematic calls associated to the cross-border smart specialization strategy. Another example of how we can improve the articulation is go further than have a strategy and to have develop an action plan for implementing the cross-border strategy, involving interregional stakeholders in order to identify future projects, identify projects for future application. And finally, to improve the synergies across funding sources based on smart specialization strategy. We have new instruments that for the next programming period, for example, the new interregional innovation investment. So there is a lot of opportunities we think that will emerge to improve synergies for funding sources, and where the smart specialization strategy will be the glue of that strategic programs. Well, from my side, it's all. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that arise at the end of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulo, and for this overview of the cross-border smart specialization Galicia-Norte of Portugal. It was very clear to all, I think, and especially the recommendations for the future were very, very interested. Right now, we're going to give an overview about the Vanguard initiative itself. I would like to invite Farah Brahmi, who is the Vanguard Initiative Network Manager, to present exactly the Vanguard Initiative, new growth of industrial regions through smart specialization. Please, Farah Brahmi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for receiving me. Thank you for the region of Norte and Galicia for organizing this regional conference under the banner of the Vanguard Initiative. So this is the first Vanguard Regional Conference of the year 2021. And I would like to congratulate the organizers looking at the level of participation, because we are almost 100 attendees today who will get to know more about the Vanguard pilot projects and their financing. So on my side, I will try to be brief because we have a quite busy schedule ahead of us. And I will just set the scene of the Vanguard initiative. I will let the others be more specific in their interventions on the pilots and task group activities. Who's sharing my slides? Do you have them? Or shall I share my slide? Thank you. So I will present what's the Vanguard, how does it work, and what is the added value of the activities. The key message is quite plain. The regions, smart specialization and cluster-based interregional collaboration is key to industrial growth. Such a message has been recognized and positively received by a wide range of partners and European institutions. And so on the next slide, I will present to you what is behind this success, and more importantly, what is the concrete offering of the network. So what is so unique about the Vanguard initiative is this place-based approach. It allows the Vanguard Association to have its foundation at regional level and to collaborate following a bottom-up approach, which is necessary for the renewal of local industrial fabric. So the first added value of the network activities is the support to SMEs, intermediary organizations, but also research organizations. And the proximity to innovative partnerships and clusters allow to support the formation of ecosystems, catalyst for innovative business and SMEs. The second added value is the capacity to support interregional collaboration on the basis of a political commitment made by the member regions. So member regions are politically committed to implement smart specialization strategies with the objective to advance technological development and support demonstration and piloting activities. Second political commitment is to build synergies and complementarities based on their smart specialization strategies to boost world-class clusters and boost their regional innovation ecosystems in association. This leads to the final added value of the network and is the policy influencing work of the association. So these are the concrete activities of the Vanguard, which are bringing the Vanguard initiative the capacity to be the most influential network to lobby for the regional perspective on industrial transition and the development of regional ecosystems. So how is this approach developed and how is it led? So this is what we will look at on the next slide. This approach is co-developed and co-led by the regions themselves. And so the network has been quite successful and the growth of it is illustrating this success. So earlier and on the agenda of this event, we've mentioned 39 member regions, but we are getting to 42 regions. You should bear in mind that the network was created in 2013 on the basis of an informal partnership between 10 regions. And it's been an international association under Belgian law for less than 5 years. Today, it's 7 pilots with 25 demo cases. So you have a list of all the pilot activities here, with the 2 most recent ones being smart health and artificial intelligence. Later on, we will hear about ESM, 3DP, and artificial intelligence. And most of this work is taking place thanks to the work of the members in the task groups, which are listed here. Later on, you will hear more from José Caldera, leading the co-funding and financing task group, and Wim de Kinderen, leading the Vanguard pilot monitoring group. The most central piece of the Vanguard activities remain the pilots. So they provide this basis for this place-based approach that we looked in details earlier. They provide the unique selling point of the Vanguard, and they make the network successful in supporting the activities of stakeholders on the ground. On the next slide, I will present you a quite important piece of information. If we could go, yeah. So today we are launching the Vanguard Initiative Cross-Cutting Call. This is the second call. This is the second time that we go ahead with this call. As you can see, the maximum budget is of 21,750 euros. You can apply until May 20th. You will receive all the details in an email in the course of the day. The call is very open, so any type of activities can be funded, so long it could be related to individual pilot project activities, which after successful delivery can benefit other Vanguard pilots, but it can be any other activities beneficial to reach the Vanguard goals. So it could be any activities related to what was presented in the slide earlier, any activities supporting interregional collaboration, supporting SME intermediary organizations, or any quadruple helix activities of the Vanguard members. If you have any question on the call, you can contact me, or you could also contact Drasko Veselinovic, who's leading the Future of Vanguard group taking care of that call. You will have all the details in the email today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farah Brahmi, for your presentation about the Vanguard initiative. And right now, I would like to present the next person who is representing Unesco, which I would like to say thank you for being also a partner with the North region on the Vanguard initiative. And it's a private non-profit research institution of the North region. And to present to us is José Carlos Caldeira from the board of directors of Unesco, and who is also leading the Vanguard initiative co-financing and co-funding and co-financing task group. The José Carlos Caldeira is presenting financing of interregional innovations projects, challenges and recommendations for the period 2021-27.
Well, bom dia, good morning to you all. Thank you very much for Norte and for Galicia for the invitation. So in the next 15 minutes, I hope to be able to present you shortly some of the activities we are doing in one of the Vanguard task groups that is dealing with co-funding and financing, so finding funding opportunities for the Vanguard activities. Pode mudar aí. So the main objective, as I said, is to develop a co-funding and financing framework capable of supporting the activities within general terms of the Vanguard initiative, and particularly its pilot projects, as it was already mentioned, and my colleague Wim will explain a little bit more in detail. And within close collaboration with the VPM task group that is coordinating the pilots, and also our very important policy influencing task group, to identify existing programs and instruments, opportunities that can be used to support the Vanguard initiative activities, but also to look at the framework, the existing funding framework, and propose, identify gaps, difficulties, and propose either new instruments or changing to the existing ones, so that we can have a better framework in the future, as it was already also mentioned by Paulo from Norte region. That is very important, that the funding framework fits the objectives of cross-regional collaboration. We started with 3 pilots, 3D printing, ASM, and bio. And of course, but the other pilots will be included also in this work, depending on as they reach the funding stage, let's say like this, they are still in the development stage. Can you change, please? So Wim will explain this a bit more in detail in the next presentation. I just want to show, as it was mentioned, I'm showing that this framework of that landscape of pilot projects and demo cases, it's a dynamic one. So there are, as it was mentioned by Farah, there are 2 more new ones there already this year, but also the demo cases will increase, is planned to increase in the future. So the funding landscape, the funding instruments needs to accommodate these dynamics also. Next slide, please. So what we have to do when we are trying to evaluate if we can find funding instruments to support these activities, to understand what kind of activities we're talking about. And basically for these pilots and demo cases, we may have 3 types of, let's say, activities. One is the creation of infrastructures, pilot lines, demonstrators that can be shared by industry. And this means mainly investment, buildings, equipment, software, etc., capacitation of the organization, which includes training, etc., etc. Then we have the running costs of these infrastructures, and let's say the most important one, in the sense that this is what feeds the dynamics are the activities, particularly development, test and validation activities, dissemination and demonstration, industrial uptake, education and training, entrepreneurship, a set of activities that we can develop, or we need to develop to promote the uptake of the technologies, bringing them to the market and supporting SMEs on doing that. So one thing that was clear is that the different pilots are in very different development stages. Some of them are already very advanced. Some others are, as I said, still being created now. And it's also a very heterogeneous funding needs for the different pilots. We have, in terms of amounts of money, in terms of timeline, in terms of balance between public and private investments. So some of the pilots are very close to the market. It's many projects, so it can be a big involvement for companies, and companies will take an important part of the private funding. Some other pilots still require big investments in terms of creating the infrastructures. And of course, in creating these infrastructures, the public funding needs to play a major role. Can we change to the next slide, please? So let me just give you a small example of one of the a typical case from the 3D printing part that was developed by the 3D printing pilot project. And you can see that, for example, when you're talking about developing a new product and test this new product in an infrastructure and then bring it to the market, we can split it basically in two steps. One step where you test, you validate, you develop the technologies, and you test, you validate. And this can be project, something that can range from 80,000 to 400,000 euros per project. And in this stage, it's reasonable to expect that we can have 50% funding from the private side, 50% from the public side. We're talking about mainly grants, like we have in many places. But then the second phase, the uptake part, so bring it really to the market. Then, of course, it's more money. It needs to be more money, between 1 and 4 million. And here, private funding plays a major role, a bigger role. And we hear, for example, loans and equity can be also used. So it's this kind of typification of what type of projects and what type of funding needs we developed with, and we are developing with the pilots, so that we can we change to the next slide? So that we can basically, what we did in this last period was to take these needs from the pilots, these concrete needs from the pilots, and meet with the regional authorities that are in charge of the funding instruments to discuss with them if the existing funding instruments fit these diversified needs of funding. So we made a first workshop now for the 3D printing pilot, with the objective of presenting these funding and financing needs to match with the existing and the future instruments that we are ready for the next framework program, that we are ready, in some cases, already more or less clear. But also to discuss the issue of the possibilities of interregional collaboration. That could be coordination, co-funding, jointing funding in the different possibilities. Also to match with other existing funding possibilities existing at national or at European level, and then somehow to draw a funding map. So saying, well, for this pilot, these are the different instruments that we can mobilize at regional, national, and international level. And we find eventually some gaps that we don't find today proper funding. And this is where we need to work with the regions and also with the Commission at European level, as we are doing, to create these instruments or to change or to fine tune the existing ones so that to cover these needs. It's very clear these workshops are not to evaluate the projects, if they are good or not. It's to evaluate if the funding instruments are adequate to fund these type of projects. Can you go to the next slide, please? So in this workshop, this is a workshop organized with the participating regions. In this case, 6 regions were involved in this pilot. And some of the conclusions were very interesting because most regions, there are funding instruments to the projects part. So it's reasonably cover that part with both grants or loans. Some regions are already planning to use the ERDF outside and or in co-funding opportunities, although it's a limited number of regions at this stage. There was discussing how can we involve in the projects organization from outside the region. And this was clear, very difficult in most cases, I would say in all cases, but it was also clear to identify that this can be done through subcontracting. And so it's always a possibility to do it through subcontracting. And it was also interesting that these workshops are very, very useful for information exchange and experience exchange, even between the regions. And for example, there was an example that was identified, very interesting, of a German region that doesn't fund in their programs external entities, but they give a premium to the local entities if they involve external entities. So it's they give a price, a premium, they give an extra funding for the local entity, for the local stakeholder, if they involve international organizations, even if they don't fund the international organization. So it's a kind of stimulus for internationalization. Well, but we have also identified several problems or limitations. This issue of not existing open calls, so the fact that many calls are predefined with deadlines, it's a problem for synchronization. It's very difficult to fund external partners or infrastructures or basic funding, for example. This is very, so the issue of the funding of the infrastructures is still, there is a lot of limitations, and most of the regions are designed in the instruments for the next period. So, and this was also seen as an opportunity to eventually even be able to fine tune the instruments. Next slide, please. So what we are doing next, similar workshops for the other pilots. Each of these pilots produce a funding report, so this funding map for each one of the pilots. We will gather this information and we will we'll develop the Vanguard Initiative global funding and financing map, so integrating the findings of the different regions, different pilots, and also looking at the instruments at European and national level, as I said, including, of course, the new I3 instrument, and we will generate also recommendations for policy level to create or to change existing instruments. And we will organize a seminar more to the end of the year. That's what's planned, to share this information with all the Vanguard members and of course external entities also. Next one and last one. So just to finalize with some conclusions from the work done so far that are very preliminary, and I call the attention to that. Well, it's very important that pilots understand and know how to use the full range of available funding instruments. And this is still, in several cases, not the case. So a lot of information needs also to be shared with the pilots in terms of funding and financing possibilities. And ideally, the pilots and the regions should work in a proactive way, precisely to detect these funding opportunities and, if needed, to fine-tune them. Take full advantage of the new I3 instrument, as it was mentioned. It's a big opportunity for us. We need to make sure that we take full advantage of it. Now, more on the public side, the operational program should open the possibility for internationalization. Again, this is not the case in many cases. This is still not happening, and we are trying to, let's say, mobilize and try to convince let's say, entities to pay attention to this issue of the internationalization, namely because it was, as it was mentioned, allows a participation in European programs, interregional programs, including centrally managed. I have nothing against it, as long this is all done by the regions on a voluntary basis and to fund their own organizations. Otherwise, if you're talking, for example, using structural funds, if this is not the case, then we are not using cohesion funds for cohesion. We'll be using it for something else. So, but at least with these conditions, I think it should be done. And when designing the operational programs, also consider the interregional dimension and the complementarity of funding. And this means try to create open calls because this facilitates synchronization. Should be an effort towards harmonization of rules and regulations between the national, regional, and European ones, using the European ones as a reference. This helps, it makes lives much easier for stakeholders and also for the public sides when they're trying to match and to do co-funding. And the instruments could have a broader scope. One thing we understood when it was clear is that to fund these integrated projects, sometimes we need to mobilize 4, 5, 6 different instruments. And it's very difficult. So it should be a possibility of either gathering, making operations that gather in different instruments, or to have instruments that have a broader scope in terms of what we can do with them, because this will facilitate this work. So that's it. I hope it was useful for the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, José Carlos. It was a very good presentation, especially in the point of view of the recommendations for the future. And we are in the privileged here that with the Commission, not the regions are negotiation the following program period of 21-27. Well, right now, following our agenda, I would like to say a few words of the next presentations. We have a group of presentations focused on the pilot projects of the Vanguard initiative, demonstrating cases and cooperation opportunities in the Industry 4.0. The first presentation is about the Vanguard initiative pilots, approach, results, and future priorities, which will be presented by Wim de Kendere, who is leading the task force on pilot monitoring of the Vanguard initiative and also works as a program director, European Affairs in Brainport Development. Wim de Kendere, please take the floor. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you also for the invitation and the excellent initiative for this cross-border conference. Will I share my own screen or will the organization?
Yes, please, Wim, you can share your own screen.
Okay.
Thank you.
This should be...
Yes, we are seeing it. If you want to put it on presentation, yes.
Wow. So happy to introduce to you the concept of the pilots, and you will get the details of 3 of them with a big potential for your stakeholders, which includes companies, of course, and knowledge institutes. But first, this is a general introduction, and you see my email here, so you can always contact me later on if needed. The slides will be shared afterwards, I imagine. So Vanguard pilot projects basically are our way of working as the Vanguard initiative to help building or to facilitate the building of new industrial value chains across our regions, because the core concept of Vanguard, of course, is to remind you that each of our regions is very strong in a specific area, but not strong enough in most cases to be globally leading, because that is actually the ambition that we have to be globally leading on ourselves. So we need to find links with other regions to get complementary expertise together in one collaboration. So that's what we do in pilot projects on different themes. Started with 3, as Jose was saying, and today 7, as Farah was mentioning. So interregional collaboration projects between companies and knowledge institutes in a specific technology field or application domames. We are not stimulating research, however important research is, but we are here to take innovations in a more efficient and a faster way to the market. And we also include, that's maybe a new topic, we are also more and more active on the actual deployment of mature technologies in the companies, because this is also, for example, in digitalization, still a large issue. Very important in the pilot projects is the industrial commitments, at least to participate, but also to co-lead and at the end co-invest, for example, in the exercises that Jose has been presenting earlier on. Of course, there needs to be a European dimension. There needs to be an added value to collaborate. We don't collaborate just because of the fun, but we do it because of the real need to do so. And apart from economic impact that we strive for, we also want to stress the importance of the social return and the environmental return. And by doing that, we also link very clearly, of course, to the European agenda with the Green Deal and the digital strategy, which is also more and more the agenda of our own regions. So in the pilots, we focus a lot on demonstration facilities, so open facilities which give access to SMEs to develop, to test, to validate new products. Open facilities which are not owned by the company, so it may have a cost, but at the end it will always be cheaper for a company than to invest in such facilities themselves. So this is a big focus in our pilot projects, these demonstrators across the regions, also trying to avoid duplications of investments. For example, I think your two regions with nano topics are an excellent example in this. It's better to give access to a facility for companies from a neighboring region instead of building the same or practically the same infrastructure yourself. Very important, because we focus a lot on that in the pilot projects. We do apply for funding for specific projects, but the pilot projects are not about one, as I call it, one-off projects. It's really about building this value chain through, it's big words, but a pipeline of investment projects. So the individual projects we have within the pilot needs to be complementary. There needs to be an internal logic to have the accumulation of the projects, and together we really build that value chain. As I said, all of this to accelerate market development and to be more competitive on the market as regions, and as regions means in this case as companies. So this is the overview of the current pilot projects. You may see similar slides in the rest of the morning on this, which look a little bit different on the demo case level. The demo case level is the sub project level within the pilots. That is because, as it's indicated, it's a very dynamic landscape. On the 3D printing, for example, we used to have 5 demo cases. Since end of last year, we have 10. So that's quite a big difference. Also, the other pilots are rearranging their demo cases constantly to reply and respond better to the industry needs. And 2 new pilots launched recently, so they don't have a list of demo cases as the 5 from the previous generation, but artificial intelligence and smart health, who already have a legacy as a partnership. They are now in the Vanguard family and will also be having such identified demo cases in the near future. The details of all of this can be found on the Vanguard website, where you can also find the contact details of these pilot leads. So any interest you have here or questions, please contact the pilot leads, which you can find on the website of Vanguard. And if not, please contact me. So the demo cases, as said, these are the level beneath the pilot level. And I will again stay to the 3D printing example, which is a pilot which is also being led by Norte, as you know, together with founders and my own region. 3D printing can be done in many areas. So it's basically, it doesn't mean a lot of 3D printing. You can have 3D printing in the automotive sector. You can have it in the health sector. You can have it with ceramics. You can have it with metal. So all of these possibilities can come together in a demo case, where you see here the specific characteristics of what that is. And I'm not going into the details of that. This would lead us too far, but I guess we will get some examples of what it means in demo case in the pilot presentations, which will come after me. This is important because we have our Vanguard methodology, which is also the methodology now being promoted by the European Commission in the Smart Specialization partnerships, which were inspired by Vanguard. So we have the Learn, Connect, Demonstrate, Commercialize methodology, where at the start, basically, we developed the scoping paper. We set out the goals of what we want to do in a specific pilot, such as efficient, sustainable manufacturing or artificial intelligence. And we start mapping the players in our own region in this field. In the Connect phase, we then organize events to make sure that these players meet, after which they start developing collaboration projects in the Demonstrate phase. And as soon as these projects are finished and funded, this is where the public funding phase comes in. These products are ready to be commercialized, and that's where Vanguard basically retreats, because we have done our job, and then the companies are ready to work on the market as a result of our previous support. And following this 4-step approach, we basically go from an industry-inspired collaboration. And the first stage, this Learn, is very much done by the regions, by the development agencies. There may not be immediate contact with companies, but if we do our job properly, for example, in the Smart Specialization strategy, as the previous presenter was saying, if we do our entrepreneurial discovery process well, we are constantly speaking with companies. So in the scoping paper, we do know that we translate the needs of industry. In the demonstrate phase, of course, we go to industry-driven projects, and at the end, what is really needed, we have industry-owned results. So what are our results so far? I think you can summarize them in two categories, which is, of course, the core, which is a strengthened collaboration between all these partners, sharing information, building collaboration ideas, which includes the funding and regional funding, which hopefully can be used as well, as Jose was explaining in the previous presentation. But we should not evaluate the success of the pilots only in terms of the successful European project applications. We also have a few cases already with regional funding, pure regional funding of collaborations, often bilateral. So in the future, hopefully this can become multilateral. And all the cases that were presented also again by Jose Caldera in the previous session are the calculated company business cases, which are at the origin of really identifying the needs in terms of volume of funding needed, and then identifying the regional and national and perhaps European possibilities to fund this. This is crucial because this is at the end where the pilot projects and their demo cases need to lead to. Calculated business cases for which we find funding solutions. The European Network of Demonstrators, the core objective of the Vanguard pilots. In some cases, we are using the existing facilities, and there are quite a few in some areas. So that's easy. We are using the existing infrastructure. The building of new infrastructure or common infrastructures, that has not happened yet. So this remains a core goal of the Vanguard pilots and Vanguard as a whole. But this is, of course, as you can imagine, and you have your own experience with ENL again, this is quite an exercise, so that is not yet a result from Vanguard. Very important, maybe not as much for the companies directly involved in the pilots, but doing this work ourselves as an association really helps us in the policy work to get a better funding and support framework, for example, from the European level, because we bring in the real life experience. And this has led, as I said, to the smart specialization partnerships, but also I think we can confidently say that we have been a major inspiration and lobbyist for the I3 instrument, the Interregional Innovation Investment Program, which will start this year for a total budget of 570 million euro. Our future priorities, and this is my final slides, responding ever more to industry needs, of course. Very important also to continue fine-tuning our position in the landscape, as I call it here. What does this mean? In specific areas, there are also other European associations or initiatives initiated by the European Commission, for example, working in similar or the same fields. So it's very important that we keep working on the additional value we can deliver to operate in niches not covered yet. One of the big exercises we're doing as Vanguard today is starting collaborations with the new European partnerships, such as Made in Europe, for example. Mobilizing and realizing innovation support from our own regions is, of course, a key objective for the near future, and making use of the funding which is there. The technology deployment aspect I already explained, and also not to be forgotten, we're talking a lot about technology, but let's not forget that, for example, skills is also a key problem in our industries, and that is a topic which is covered by some of our pilots, but I think it needs more attention. All of this to raise more impact resulting from our collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Wim de Kendere, for your overview presentation about the Vanguard initiative pilot projects. And the following, we have three presentations about three different pilot projects of Vanguard initiative. And the first one is about the efficient and manufacturing sustainable manufacturing. The next one will be about 3D printing, and the last one about the artificial intelligence. So right now I would like to invite Antonio Almeida, a senior researcher in Unesco. Again, just like José Carlos Caldeira, Unesco is a private non-profit research institution of North region, and I would like to give the floor to Antonio Almeida.
So good afternoon. So I will share my presentation. Okay. So I think that now you can see my presentation. So first of all, good morning. So my name is Antonio Almeida, and I'm a senior researcher and also business developer in Unesco. And of course, on behalf of Unesco, I would like to thank you for the invitation to be in this event. So today for this presentation, the agenda that I have is, first of all, I will give a very few slides about our institute, and then I will introduce this pilot and some examples of projects that we have been doing in the context of the different demo cases that we can see here. So first of all, about Unesco. So our vision, in fact, is to be a relevant stakeholder at the international level in science and technology in domains of network intelligence systems, power and energy, industrial and systems engineering, and computer science. Our mission is to foster perceived intelligence, to excellence in research, and of course to have social and economic impact. Our headquarters, we are located in Porto, so in the north of Portugal, but we also have office in Brussels and in Brazil. So we have a multidisciplinary environment with 13 research centers involved, and this is a very important landscape for the real industrial 4.0 application, considering its multidisciplinarity. And our research centers, they are divided in 4 major clusters of clusters. So the first one is the network intelligent systems, where we have topics related and subjects addressed related with applied photonics, biomedical engineering, robotics and autonomous systems, and telecommunications. Then we have power and energy, the computer science with the application of artificial intelligence and decision support, advanced computing systems, and high security, high assurance software. And finally, we have the industrial and engineering and the system engineering, where basically we compile all the knowledge and expertise that I mentioned before, applied to industry to support the enterprise systems engineering, industrial engineering management, innovation, and also robotics applied to industry. Some figures about our institute. So we have more than 700 integrated researchers, from which 350 are PhDs. We have 80 million activity registered last year with 37 patents applications so far. And we have more than 370 ongoing R&D projects. So now about the efficient and sustainable manufacturing pilot. So the Vanguard initiative that we are mentioning here, the main objective is to develop the European network of pilot plants in the area of manufacturing efficiency and sustainability. So we are exploring technologies, methods, and tools that has as main objective to increase the throughput, the quality, environmental and sustainability awareness, the sustainability of manufacturing, and of course to reduce waste and to reduce cost of manufacturing. Our objective are also to reduce emissions, to become more energy efficient, and to use better our resources and materials. And of course, more and more, we also want to involve the humans in the loop. So our objective is to improve technologies that can support and enhance humans in factory, mainly their cognitive capacity. In terms of the main regions involved in this pilot, we can see in this map that the leading regions are located mainly in Spain, France, and Italy, and then we have the participant regions that are in fact distributed around Europe. In concrete and in red, you can see the North and the Galicia that are located very near, and of course it is a very good opportunity to stimulate new opportunities for collaboration and cross-border projects. So in terms of the demo case involved in this pilot, we have been working in mainly three let's say domains. So the first one is the de and remanufacturing, to recover and reuse functions and materials along the product life cycle. Then the digital and virtual factory integration, not only to support the planning and simulation of operative environments, and then also everything related with energy and sustainable and environmental issues for a more efficient manufacturing processes. In terms of digital and virtual factory integration, so we see this as an opportunity to bridge the 3 points of this triangle. So to use industrial IoT and analytics to collect data from cyber-physical systems that we have, and then stimulate the application of what-if scenarios and simulation. To do that, we are using to enrich this connection between smart factories, digital factory applications, and virtual factory simulations, we use the next generation of ICTs, such as Internet of Things, cloud and big data, artificial intelligence, and deep learning. We exploit the use of data for decision-making, to support decision-making. And also we enable the digital factory application concerning the modeling and simulation of environments for what-if scenarios based on for production planning, optimization, diagnosis and maintenance, and of course, energy and waste management. So as an example of application, I bring you here some examples. So the last one is one of the projects that we are now working is the AI-Regio project. So Regions and Digital Innovation Hubs Alliance for AI-driven digital transformation of European manufacturing SMEs. This is a project coordinated by the Polytechnic of Milano, with a total budget of 8 million. And here, of course, the objective is to build a one-stop shop platform that will enable access to resources for AI-based solutions and provide the means to mitigate the barriers for AI adoption in SMEs. We will do this offering regional digital innovation hub services to manufacturing companies and this strategy is divided in 3 levels. So the first one is the policy impacts. So better coordinate the regional smart specialization strategies. The second is the technology impact. So enhance the knowledge and the knowledge transfer about the technologies for digital innovation hubs. And then the business impact. So upgrade the offering and applications, so the AI-driven applications that can be available. In terms of real application, in this project we have a series of demos, a series of pilots and experiments. In the North region, we have an experiment that is focused on the demonstration of how to integrate information that is collected from the shop floor through an IoT platform to support real-time planning adjustments. So in this pilot, the aim is to adjust the running production schedule, take into account the current delays and faults by reassigning operations to another production resources and match the required and available skills available. And here, what we want to expect as benefits is to improve the production planning optimization, to increase the number of equipment that we have connected to the IoT, and be able to detect in a more easy way and in a more quick way the deviations that can be identified in production systems using AI as a driven technology. The second project that I bring to you is Fasten. So this is also a European project. This is already finalized project that finalized last year. And here the main objective was to create an open and standardized framework to support companies to produce and deliver tailored designed products. Here we explored the implementation of cyber-physical systems based on robotics and additive manufacturing, and collect this data and integrate this data through an open industrial IoT platform that of course then feed real-time simulation and optimization engines that can support companies to achieve a higher efficiency and effectiveness. We demonstrate these technologies in 2 different pilot cases from Almeida and Tyson Group. This project was led and coordinated by Unesco. The second demo case is the de- and remanufacturing to recover the use of functions and materials. Here, what we want to demonstrate is how we can take advantage from advanced and innovative enabled technologies to solve specific sustainability-oriented problems. And here, of course, reinforce and support the circular economy along the product and factory life cycles, take into consideration the raw materials that are consumed, but also the product and factory design, the production and remanufacturing, distribution, consumption, collection, and recycling, and the continuous loop that you can see in this image. And of course, do this in coordination with the digital innovation hubs to provide this knowledge to the companies. More recently, this is a very recent project that we approved. So the Cirque Threat is a project that is starting right now, coordinated by Ecodenge, to reply to the SC531 call from H2020 financial program. And here, what is our main objective is to take advantage of an information management system so that decision makers can use information across the entire product life cycle to improve the product lifespan, to improve the repair capabilities, and also to stimulate remanufacturing and recycling processes. We are using the latest digital technologies to enable the secure and effective exchange of information in a transparent and scalable way. The last demo case that I would like to present to you is the energy and environmental efficient manufacturing process. So this is a demo coordinated by our colleagues also here located very near from Unesco, so it is in Asia. So here, the main objective is to focus on the fundamentals for the energy related management in factories and technologies towards a more energy efficiency, and of course aiming to go towards a more zero waste and zero emission paradigm as aligned with the agenda for 2050. One of the projects that I would like to highlight is our participation in the project Embers, also coordinated by INEGI. And here the objective is to use the concept of the industrial symbiosis. So be able to share energy, and in this case, heat and coal between factories, but also with society and services. In the scope of this project, we in ESCTEC, we are actively participating in a specific pilot case in Copenhagen, where the objective is to determine the optimal synergies of heat and cold and electricity within a district. To do that, we are testing and implementing the Embers platform with 30 residential electricity and heat consumers that are connected to this grid. And we are taking advantage of digitalization of the information that you can collect from the apartments in different residential buildings. And of course, take advantage of this to show how we can reduce CO2 emissions through this industrial symbiosis. To finalize, I would like to talk a little bit about our industry and innovation lab. This is our test and experimental facility that we are developing to provide knowledge to demonstrate technology to our industrial companies that can use and they want to use these services, and also to provide advanced training on the emergent technologies on Industry 4.0. This is a small video.
The manufacturing sector has evolved over the decades, constantly adapting to fulfill the needs of economy and society. In its Industry and Innovation Lab, the II Lab in ESCTech aims to disclose the state-of-the-art in advanced production technologies, thus contributing to the industry's smart, sustainable and technology-based growth. Created in 2019 and headquartered in Porto, Portugal, the II Lab is a space for demonstration of research, experimentation, validation of new concepts and advanced training. The lab supports technology-based innovation in public and private organizations, thus enhancing their skills in the development, adoption and implementation of advanced production technologies. II Lab showcases a wide range of technologies such as mobile robotics, industrial vision systems, simulation, business intelligence and Internet of Things. The lab provides a controlled, near-industrial test environment with production simulators, collaborative manipulators, cargo transport robots, and IoT platforms. The technological demonstrators installed in the II Lab are transferred to different industrial sectors such as automotive, aeronautics, machinery, metalworking, textile, footwear, and logistics. II Lab also provides professional training in digital transformation management and advanced production technologies for senior managers and engineers of manufacturing companies and technology providers. A specialized and experienced multidisciplinary team provides counseling to companies in order to support their digital transition and development of new and customized solutions. The laboratory works in close collaboration with other national and international initiatives, such as National European Digital Innovation Hubs and EIT Manufacturing, in order to spread digitization technologies across all industrial sectors in the region, thus accelerating the development of new industrial technologies and maximizing its impact, promoting the digital transformation and competitiveness of manufacturing companies.
Okay, so this is my presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Antonio, for your presentation. I would like to pass the word to Margarida Machado, who is from INEGI, also an institution that is a partner of North region in the Vanguard initiative, and trying to translate INEGI. It's a science and innovation in mechanical and industrial engineering, research and technology organization. Margarida Machado is going to present the 3D printing, high performance production through 3D printing.
Good morning. Thank you, Regal, for the introduction. Thank you all for the invitation. So I'm a senior researcher at INEGI, RTO located at North region. And my mission here today is to talk about the 3DP pilot of Vanguard initiative entitled High Performance Production through 3D Printing. And this is the outline of this presentation. So I will start with a brief introduction of the 3D pilot purpose, rationale, and objectives. Then I will briefly explain the implementation approach established in the 3DP pilot. Following, I will describe the different demo cases ongoing till now, and I will conclude with some information about how Vanguard initiative can support 3DP pilot members and how someone interested can join this pilot and propose different demo cases and application projects. So the first question that raises about this pilot is why 3D printing? And this is justified by the fact that 3D printing, also known as additive manufacturing, is a promising technology able to empower the transition from mass production to mass customization in several leading sectors. Indeed, this is a pilot. This challenging pilot has the 3D capabilities and actors still operate in largely disconnected value chains in Europe due to fragmented efforts in technology deployment and also lack of connection between technology suppliers and the great demand. In this sense, driven by these challenges, Vanguard initiative launched this pilot with the main purpose of accelerating the market uptake of 3D applications in Europe through the development of industry-led trans-regional demonstration platforms and projects that can connect 3D capabilities and actors. But why we need a cross-regional approach for this pilot? To guarantee completeness and efficiency at the same time, to apply the best solutions available, to ensure critical mass, to foster positive externalities and spillover effects, and as a result, to show a clear added value compared to what already exists at regional level. So to sum up, this 3D pilot aims to address industry needs in their smart, green, and competitive paths by enabling co-development, deployment, and uptake of IM-related solutions through the timely development of cross-regional demonstration projects connecting capabilities and actors. With this rationale, 3D pilot contribute to emerge new value chains and the reinforcement of existing ones. It's worth mentioning that the key point of focus is not on joint R&D projects, but on demonstrations, activities behind prototyping with TRLs greater than 5. Taking this previous mentioned rationale of 3D pilot, a 3-step implementation process was established. The first step is the identification of the industry needs, as those are the drivers of the demo cases. In this stage, it is of paramount importance to set target groups, expertise, equipment needed, market, and so on. The second stage of the 3D pilot is a 3D pilot treatment, where the actors and the benefits of the demo case can be specified. And the final step is the project implementation. And at this stage, issues related to funding support, spillover effects, feedback loops, value chain sustainability will be raised and analyzed. And here is the schematic representation of the backend of the 3D pilot implementation framework. Through direct matchmaking tools, such as 3D Pan-European Network, it's possible to map industry needs and at the same time demonstration service suppliers. From this info, 9 demo cases were purposed, targeting emerging and complex solutions, plus 2 cross-cutting activities focusing on transversal topics. These 9 demo cases were built to reach a network of expertise, a critical mass, best value for money connections in terms of procurement and delivery, and co-development deployment of solutions in strategic collaboration areas. For each demo case, and specific projects were implemented as a boost up of industrial uptake of additive manufacturing-based solutions. And in this slide, we have the concept of the demo cases and application projects illustrated. So each demo case covers a specific intervention area and gathers a set of actors from technology providers to facility centers that bringing complementary challenge, technologies, demonstration, infrastructure, knowledge, and so on. And in this demo case, several application projects can be addressed, which entails 2 phases, the demonstration phase and then the industrial uptake. For both dimensions, demo case and specific projects, Vanguard initiative outline appropriated business models that I can provide this information for you if you are interested in this. So in terms of demo case, at this moment, the 3D pilot has 28 participating regions. You have 2 in Austria, 2 in Belgium, 5 in Germany, 3 in Spain, 1 in Finland, 1 in France, 6 in Italy, 2 in Netherlands, 1 in Poland, 1 in Portugal, North region, 3 in Sweden, and 1 in Slovenia. Regarding the demo case, at this moment, there are 9 ongoing demo cases plus 2 transversal actions. In terms of cross-cutting actions, the 2 open lines deal with the raising awareness about IM opportunities and solutions to the industry. And the second one is the build-up of an international benchmark of IM properties. In terms of demo cases, our focus on distinct sectors, components, technologies such as hybrid components, repairing solutions, integrated electronics, healthcare devices, built environment, large parts, collaborative robotics, maintenance, and additive and subtractive. So following, I will explain in detail each of these demo cases in terms of main objectives, industry demands, and also application sectors. So regarding hybrid components, the idea is to facilitate the uptake and the deployment of the 3D printing innovative ultralight hybrid components based on different materials and structures. Since there is a lack of knowledge and demonstration facilities for this type of technology that can obviously offers material and energy savings, higher recyclability, free from design, and so on. The main targets are the automotive sector, sporting goods, shipbuilding, aeronautics, aerospace, and healthcare. And we are targeting in specific 3D printed metal inserts with composite combinations for art trimming interior products, structural elements, and powertrain elements. I have to say that this is an area of a specific project, but this demo case can also address another specific projects that you can propose. Regarding to repairing, so the main objective is to combine subtractive and additive manufacturing in one step and make the process automated. As the repair of parts is difficult nowadays, it's handmade, skill dependent, not repeatable. So we believe that using hybrid manufacturing techniques can be a solution to repair the high value components, even if the CAD/CAM process is still a demanding task that needs to be improved and more investigated to be optimized. In this specific target, specific demo case, we are targeting the tooling sector, so foundry, hot stamping, injection molding, composite fabrication, and so on, and also the energy sector that have obviously wear-prone components, as this gear here illustrated. Regarding the demo case about cobots, so efficient collaborative robots through 3D printing optimization. And here the main goal is to design, develop, and manufacture on demand and customize new concepts and solutions for helping the automation of industrial process and not non-industrial process. And the focus of this specific demo case is on trying to find solutions for lightweight design, reduce time to market, less assembly, and so on. And the focus of the specific project that is going on is on the design of complex grips for handling like extraction, positioning, and so on of soft parts for industrial sector, the automotive sector, and also for the agri-food sector. And in this demo case, we can also explore different 3D printing technologies that can provide us this flexibility and the work with these soft materials. In terms of electronics, the main focus is obviously to go from the 2D printing electronics to the 3D printing electronics, targeting obviously sectors like automotive, consumer goods, aerospace, and so on. And the challenge here is to create fully functional parts in one printing job, using different materials and inline processing, and taking the most of the free-form design, avoiding assembly steps, and also exploring the inkjet-based multi-material 3D printing solutions. The demo case focus on the healthcare sector. The main study is on the 3D printing customized components. So for orthoses, exoskeletons, and exoprostheses. So the idea is to explore, better explore the custom fit and the lightweight design opportunities that additive manufacturing can provide to this sector. Obviously, trying to evaluate the feasibility, the value, the sustainability, the efficiency, and the safety of the technology for this medical sector. The other demo case is focused on the built environmental, and the idea is to explore new possibilities for the transition of the building to the construction sector using digitalization, robotization, and also to the challenge is to deploy 3D printing solutions for the construction sector. And you can foster areas and study areas about virtual design, testing, digital twins, mock-ups, architecture of the machines, path trajectories, solutions, and so on. Then we have also a demo case focus on the maintenance, because we are talking about obviously additive manufacturing that we can build a part from zero, but we can also repair, use for the repair. And this is the idea to increase the use of additive manufacturing maintenance sector, providing a catalog of a toolbox for the maintenance, and giving to this sector more flexibility, stock level reduction, and so on. And this is very important for several sectors like machine tools, toolings, and other industries that need to repair obsolete spare parts in general, small series for replacing critical parts, and so on. And for this specific demo case, we are open to explore not only metal and polymer printing and other solutions as well. Then we have also the large parts demo case that the objective is to make emerging the additive manufacturing in this field to try to explore, test, and validate 3D printing based solutions for large parts. And the sectors are obviously the automotive, aerospace, shipbuilding, railway constructions, and we can target the design, the manufacturing, the repairing of high value components, fabrication, repairing of molds and tooling, and technology of large printings, composites, large parts, and so on. So here we have an illustration, an overview of the portfolio of Vanguard initiative. Here we can see that we already collect a very wide range of sectors, processes, and components, but there is still open fields to contribute and to enrich this portfolio of demonstrators. To do so, Vanguard initiative can provide an integrated support from the analysis of matchmaking, including support and finding partners, till the feedback loops, and obviously considering the stages of the process design, so supporting on the consortium, NDAs, business models, and so on, and also the process implementations to do some calls monitoring, consortium generations, and so on. And to finalize my presentation, I just want to state that the 3DP pilot is continuously open to new ideas for demo cases and specific projects. And so if you are interested in joining this community and benefit from this contribute transregional initiative, go to 3D Pilot pitching platform or contact directly me or any member of Vanguard initiative. I will end here my presentation, acknowledging on behalf of UNESG the invitation for being here, and thank you the audience for the attention.
Thank you, Margarida Machado, for your presentation, the overview of the not only of the pilot project, but also of the demo cases that are inside the 3DP. Well, following, I am going to present Domenico Guida, which is a digital innovation project manager at ART-ER. a consortium of companies of Emilia-Romagna region in Italy for sustainable growth and attractiveness, innovation and knowledge located in Bologna, to give us a presentation about high artificial intelligence. So please, Domenica, Guida, take the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you for the invitation and for the chance to present our work inside the Vanguard initiative. And I will share my screen so that I can show you some slides while I'm talking. And well, yes, you already introduced me. I work for ARTER, which is the innovation agency for Emilia-Romagna region. We are also on the other than all the stuff we are going to talk today, involved in the definition of the S3 strategy for the Emilia-Romagna region. So this today has been a really interesting presentation from your side of the work you've been doing with the cross-border strategy. So let's talk about one of the newest pilot projects inside the Vanguard initiative, which is the artificial intelligence pilot project. And it just started its activities inside the Vanguard initiative, but it takes its first steps from an already working partnership in the frame of the thematic smart specialization platform, which was the artificial intelligence and human machine interface, part of the industrial modernization platform. And this partnership started more than 2 years before the setup of the AI pilot, and had as a main aim the idea to fill the last mile innovation segment, to bring the AI-enhanced, AI-related innovation inside SMEs and companies. The focus was strongly on bringing AI-enhanced innovation inside SMEs, in particular inside manufacturing SMEs. All the work that has been done has been performed with a bottom-up approach, so always listening to local stakeholders, being SMEs, being companies, being innovation laboratories and RTOs. This process brought to some relevant inputs in terms of technical background and in terms of participation of laboratories and companies to the setup of this grid. And the AI pilot inside the Vanguard initiative inherits a lot of these points. First of all, the technical background and the implementation process. So we would like to maintain the same bottom-up approach to set up the pilot and to make it operatively working. And of course, the partnership of the pilot is slightly overlapping with the AI and HMI, with the previous partnership of the TSSP platform. And the strong aim to fill the gap between the innovation in AI-related field and the SMEs needs is still the main aim of the AI pilot inside the Vanguard initiative. Of course, inside the previous partnership of the TSSP partnership, already there was a demo case, which was the AI demo lab grid. We will go a bit into detail later in the presentation. And this demo case is the first demo project for the AI pilot inside the Vanguard initiative. Of course, the AI pilot is not only working exactly as the TSSP partnership, but we'll have a wider outlook on fields of application for AI technologies, also going past the manufacturing sector and looking for other application sectors in the industrial value chains. Also as already a wider geographical coverage, and this was one of the aims, the first aims. We already reached it thanks to the interest of many regions who asked to join the pilot itself, and a very heterogeneous partnership made of different participants of different different topics and needs and expectations from the AI pilot. This is an added value for us. Of course, we will be active part and proactive part of the cooperation inside the Vanguard initiative, and we would like to work together to come to concrete results within the initiative framework. Looking at the composition of the partnership of the pilot, we have several regions already participating formally and other which are involved and interested regions. And as you can see, we have a wide coverage, and the Galicia region is one of the last regions who officially joined the pilot. We are so happy for this, so glad for this. And we are working to start operatively and involve them in the operations as soon as possible. Looking at the objectives of the pilot, as we already said, the idea is to support and simulate the deployment of AI-related technologies in the different industrial value chains with a special focus for SMEs, and support and accelerate their innovation processes, which we know are always crucial for innovation in SMEs, especially for small and medium enterprises. One of the added value of the pilot is the aim to create cross-sectoral paths for cooperation and application of AI technologies and AI-related innovation through relevant sectors, and moving from the strong focus on manufacturing, and of course is to encourage all the stakeholders, local stakeholders, including SMEs, innovation laboratories, RTOs, to partner and find synergies with other stakeholders from other regions to foster interregional cooperation. Looking at the challenges, this is a study I just took from a study from O'Reilly in 2020. There are several question marks on application of AI technologies from industries, companies, and especially SMEs. And this is, I think, one of the complete list we can find on on the challenges that are faced every day by industries and companies in application of SMEs. These are the main challenges AI pilot will face in its activities, in its activity to bring AI into companies, into SMEs, and it is something that we are strongly working on. In particular, there are some technical aspects, like, for example, lack of data or technical infrastructure challenges. But of course, there is a strong need to help SMEs and companies in identifying an appropriate use of AI, and in helping them building and creating new business cases using AI. And this is something we are strongly working on. The domain of the AI pilot is inherited from the TSSP partnership. It's made of 4 areas which have been identified with the bottom-up process I was talking before. So asking directly to SMEs and companies what they think AI, in which sectors they think AI could be useful to bring innovation. And the 4 areas are user experience data analytics, user-centered design, AI-enhanced cyber-physical automation, and the human-machine interface evolution. These 4 areas complete the domain of our application of the AI pilot, and but they are just put in order to create a new value chain for the pilot, which is essentially the 4 areas connected each other, and a social impact interest, opening and closing the value chain. We think the social impact of in AI enhanced innovation application into workplaces, into production lines, and in other sectors, of course, raises some points, especially for customers and companies applying these technologies, on the social impact of the AI application. First of all, the most known one is, of course, the fear of loss of jobs due to application of AI, and this is one of the first issues that was highlighted during the first phases of the TSSP partnership work, and it is something we faced a lot. And so the first point is to explain companies and SMEs and customers too that AI will not destroy the jobs the environment they're working right now. It's just evolving, and the same way skills and knowledge from workers will need to evolve and to meet the new needs coming from the market. Other than this, the three main targets for AI actions are the boost of competitiveness and revenues for companies and SMEs, a special focus on workers and employees, including the quality of working life inside working environment, and, as I already said, a look on social environment and ecosystems. Looking at the structure, we of course have governance and technical scientific guidance for the pilot, and similar to all the other pilots that have been already presented, we have the demo projects inside. The first one, as I already said, is the AI demo lab grid. We will look at it briefly. And of course, other than the internal structure for the pilot, we strongly think that there is a real, that looking at AI is a really cross-sectoral key innovation technology. There is the strong need for the pilot to link with other European initiatives and, of course, to other Vanguard pilots. We already talked during the meeting about the cross-pilot projects. Farah presented the idea of the cross-pilot project. It is something we are looking at. We think that there is room for a large set of cross-sectoral applications of AI, and it is something AI pilot will work on. Of course, as you saw in the previous slide, there are empty slots for demo projects. So a call for new demo projects to be implemented inside the pilot is open, is continuously open. It is something we stated in the proposal itself, so it is something we strongly believe in. And as already Wim explained before, there are different kind of the demo cases or demo projects. There are the challenge or technology-driven ones, the demo projects connecting existing infrastructures, the ones building new infrastructures, and the ones from an hybrid from the point of view which connect and upgrade existing infrastructure. The first demo project of the AI pilot is from this last section, which is connect and upgrade existing infrastructure. We are currently working with some partner or interested regions to define the new demo projects to be included in the pilot. This is because the next steps are, other than the pilot approval and the setup of the activities inside the new pilot of the AI demo lab grid, there is the collection of proposal for establishment of new demo cases, and of course the official kickoff meeting, which will be held in May 2021. Other informal meetings are already ongoing, and of course we are already operating on the field. Looking shortly at the demo project for the AI pilot, which is the AI demo lab grid. It is essentially an interregional grid of high-level innovation laboratories, which already operate in the field of providing services, innovation services to SMEs in the fields related to AI technologies. It has been ideated and created inside the TSSP partnership and is taking its concrete form right now. It has been set up with a bottom-up process, collecting questions, needs, and opportunities from local stakeholders, SMEs, RTOs, innovation laboratories. And it operates in 5 relevant fields of application, which deploy in 5 demo labs, demonstration laboratories. The 5 demonstration laboratories are the ones identified in this figure. They are strongly related to the value chain we presented before, and there is a demo lab operating in the user experience, data analytics and data collection. The second one is operating inside the cooperative and collaborative and cooperative robots, machines and production lines. The third one, the in-that lab, is operating in the setup of all the collection of data from already running production lines or new production lines to be set up. The fourth one is the control lab, which focuses on the AI-enhanced controlling strategy for production lines, including quality check, maintenance, predictive maintenance, digital twins, and so on. And the last one, which is the human-machine interface evolution lab, which is strongly focusing on the transition from a simple interface to assistance and cooperation between the machines and the operators. Each demo lab is in the form of a distributed lab based on the cooperation of already running laboratories, innovation laboratories from partner regions, and is based on a win-win strategy, simply meeting the need of innovation laboratories to complement their service portfolio and to reach out to other SMEs and companies from other regions, and the needs of SMEs and companies to receive and to be able to apply innovation services from a wide network of excellence laboratories, always interfacing with the local contact point of the grid in its own region. Just some figures, and I will go through the conclusions. The grid right now is being set up on the expression of interest collected from 24 laboratories from 11 different regions. We have a wide coverage, both from a geographical point of view and from a technical point of view. We are strongly working on definition of a service portfolio and cooperation patterns and proto experiences to allow SMEs test the way they can use the grid to enhance their services. And concerning the next steps, as I already said, we are identifying cooperation patterns, are continuously collecting expressions of interest to widen the coverage, or the technical coverage of the grid and the service portfolio that is being prepared. And we are always focusing on the working on the participation to specific funding programs. First of all, the interregional innovation program being pointed out before, and we are working to position the grid at an European level and to exchange and connect the grid with other networks and grids which are being set up in the next years in the EU scenario. Looking at the European level impact, as we already said, AI pilot will encourage the involvement of its participants in other European networks and will foster participants to partner each other and with other regions and stakeholders in the context of AI innovation related calls and opportunities and call for participation. Looking at the AI demo lab grid, we have to say that several laboratories already participating in the grid are recognized center of excellence, are enrolled in the catalog for digital innovation hubs, and are active part in the preparation of proposals for the new forthcoming call for European digital innovation hubs. This is a point that we are looking at. We are contacting laboratories to let them exploit this participation to the AI Demo Lab Grid as an added value for their participation in the European Digital Innovation Hub course. For what concerns the targets, for the general targets, we have the need to create complementarities between the pilot and other initiatives, internally Vanguard initiative, and also from other initiatives outside the Vanguard initiative, and to find synergies in regional and interregional, in this case, efforts to leverage investments, to leverage opportunities for the AI Demo Lab Grid and the AI pilot itself. Of course, the idea is always to be as much as complementary as possible and additional to all the efforts that regions are taking in place for their own innovation strategies. To conclude, I look at future priorities for the AI pilot. There is a need to look at the impact, so to raise impact in the European AI scenario. For what concerns funding, we will need to mobilize investment funding programs from partner regions and from private investments in relevant demo cases. And there is the need to highlight the already present, but always need to make it more clear, the industrial commitment in the pilot activities. So this was an introduction for the AI pilot. I think it's the last point I would like to address. Here are my contacts and the contacts from Stefano, which is my colleague from Baden-Württemberg, which is following and coordinating the AI pilots with Emilia-Romagna region. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Domenico, for your very good presentation, and my curiosity, and probably make a statement about the very highly concentrated in Central Europe of this project. So maybe with this conference, we can make more regions like Norte and Galicia to participate in this pilot project. So first, before I introduce the next presentation, I would like to recall, as it is on the program, that we have a small time for questions and answers. So I am seeing that there is even there is not any questions still. So I encourage you to make some questions to the previous presentation, and also the next one, which will be the last one. So please feel free to think about questions to our presentation, and so that we can do it after the next presentation. Well, the next presentation is very connected to this one of Domenico, because he also talked about digital innovation hubs, and the Pedro Rocha, which is an executive director of Produtect, the production technologies cluster in Portugal, he has a solid experience in research and development and innovation projects management, including the setup and management of a large-scale R&D projects. So Pedro Rocha is going to present us the digital innovation hubs, digital transformation on the manufacturing industry, and smart specialization. Please, Pedro, welcome to our conference.
Welcome, and thank you so much. It is a pleasure for me to be here. And I would like to congratulate the organizers for the initiative, which, in my understanding, is of key pertinence to enhance visibility and to boost interregional cooperation at the service of the industry and regional economy. And of course, thank you so much for the kind invitation addressed to me to to present the work that we have been doing at the level of digital innovation hubs. I will share my screen with you basically to support my presentation. And history matters. And in the fact, since the inception of the Digitizing European Industry Initiative in 2016, there was a clear acknowledgement on the urgency to boost digitalization and the priority to build and consolidate functions in the stakeholders that specifically address and support the digital transformation of the industry. And this led also in 2016 to the establishment of a working group to which I had the pleasure to be part of, to define the concept, the functions, and the attributions committed to digital innovation hubs in the development of this support function to the industry. And the resulting concept is the one that we all know. Digital innovation hubs should act as a one-stop shop, serving companies within their local region and beyond to digitalize their businesses. And of course, having this in mind, DEC in 2017 requested an international consortium to identify and map initiatives that were already developing the functions of DIH throughout Europe. And I guess that in recognition of the work that we, Produtech, as a cluster, as production technology cluster, were developing, we were contacted by this international consortium. And this led to identification of Produtech and IMA-Norte Hub as digital innovation hubs. And of course, their inclusion on the database that was later transformed in the Digital Innovation Hub catalog that we all know nowadays. And we made part of this initial set of DIH initiatives to be classified as such at European level, and the first ones at Portugal level. And on the basis of this, there was the mission that was embedded in our work of fostering the digital transformation of the manufacturing industry by gathering a critical mass of capacities, by networking a set of stakeholders, R&D organizations, companies, pilot installations towards the deployment of added value services that supported this digital transformation. And in this sense, we adapted to this function the name of Produtech Digital Innovation Hub Platform that had on its essence the cluster. And in parallel, we are also invited by a Portuguese consortium to coordinate a regional digital innovation hub named IMA-Norte Hub that was the offspring of an European project now called BIN-CPPS. And this regional Digital Innovation Hub was co-coordinated with R&D organizations, with industry-oriented technology center, and gathered much more stakeholders. And as key focus, cyber-physical systems and robotics. And on the basis of this all was the existing industrial fabric. In fact, Portugal and North region in particular are characterized by a strong industrial base, which is part of its DNA. And in fact, it has a diverse manufacturing industry fabric comprising several sectors from manufacturing industry and process industry. And this industry, for its competitiveness, has a strong emphasis on innovation, on flexibility, and on responsiveness. And of course, we also add a strong production technology industry with engineering competences and track record in intersectoral cooperation. And additionally, we add a production technology cluster critical mass that gather users of production technologies, notably companies from the diverse manufacturing industry, gather R&D organizations that were active on these fields. And of course, this cluster is being led by the production technology companies. And we also add a sound institutional environment, providing incentives for R&D and innovation linked to a multidimensional smart specialization strategy that foresaw advanced manufacturing as a priority. Additionally, we also had in place cross-cutting initiatives that fostered industrial modernization, such as Indústria 4.0 initiative, and we had an excellent cross-sectoral and inter-cluster collaboration environment that provided the grounds for the launch of joint projects and a track record of an active participation in international innovation networks. And at the same time, and framed by institutional environment, Produtech had a strategic agenda on R&D, innovation, and diffusion that was feeding and currently feeds a pipeline of projects supporting the industry. And this put an emphasis on the positioning of the production technology sector in the overall manufacturing industry picture. They are suppliers of the solutions, of the technologies that equip and enable the production capacities, that enable innovation, and that in last analysis supports the competitiveness of the manufacturing industry. And they are, of course, suppliers of the solutions that will enable the digital, green, and competitive transition that we all foster. But nevertheless, it is important also for us to understand what are the drivers and the barriers for the adoption of these advanced manufacturing technologies. And if the drivers are obvious, such as cost reductions, increased productivity, improved quality, and higher value products, the barriers shall be seen within the perspective of both companies from the manufacturing industry and companies that are supplying these production technology solutions. And if we look from the perspective of the manufacturing industry, we can see as barriers the difficulty to assess the performance of these technologies and its return to investment. We also see as barriers sometimes the high cost of investment and the lack of financial resources, especially if we think that the European manufacturing fabric is of small and medium enterprises. A third barrier is the lack of skilled personnel to integrate and to use these technologies within the companies. And in last but not the least, market turbulence and uncertainty that COVID has just put the focus on it. And from the perspective of the production technology companies, there are also barriers. First, the need to translate sometimes not well-defined needs in technical specifications, implying a strong communication with users that will use this type of technologies. Secondly, the lack of resources to continually invest and to reach out to new customers. Thirdly, the fact that some types of these mature these technologies that they are integrating in their production technologies are not mature enough or are emergent. And the last but not the least, the lack of access to potential customers. And basically, this implies an intervention at the level of creating robust networks, of linking users with the suppliers and R&D organizations and pilot installations, in supporting the development of adequate solutions for their needs. It implies to invest in supporting training, in supporting skills development. It also implies an effort to provide and to support companies to find investment sources and financing sources and of course, the dynamization of this ecosystem. And in fact, all these elements put an emphasis on the role of digital innovation hubs, and notably on the 4 functions that are attributed to them, notably supporting companies to test before investing. Secondly, to support skills development and training. Thirdly, to support to find investment sources. And the last but not the least, and as just tell you about it, it is to foster networking and the dynamization of this ecosystem. And of course, the importance of being able to draw strengths from our local capacities and potential and explore complementarities, looking for other digital innovation hubs regional, at regional, national, and European level. And in the beginning of 2020, in the outbreak of COVID pandemic, the EC publishes a new industrial strategy, emphasizing the need to undertake the green, digital, and competitive transition of the industry. And the pandemic also brought us to a standstill of the economy and to the disruption of value chains, which urged us and is urging us to take actions and focus on recovery, on reindustrialization, and on resilience. And of course, this should be naturally rooted on the strengths, on the capacities and potential embedded within our smart specialization strategies. And basically, this priority has been gaining momentum with the importance to promote a network of European digital innovation hubs, which will have both local and European functions, and that will enhance and support in an efficient and coordinated way the digital transformation of the industry. And having this in mind, we recently had put forward a proposal for an integrative digital innovation hub value proposition that consolidates the interventions from both digital innovation initiatives that were co-promoted by Produtech, notably the original Produtech Digital Innovation Platform and Inman Art Hub. And this integrative proposal basically draws strengths from their extensive footprint from these two original initiatives and their intervention at local and European level, and is deeply rooted in local strengths, capacities, and potential leveraged by the pertinent smart specialization strategies. And with a core focus on AI, robotics, additive manufacturing, among others, and while at the same time establishing synergies with other digital innovation hubs, both at national level and also at European level, we are consolidating our intervention to best serve the industry needs. In fact, it is our conviction that the challenges that the European industry is currently facing requires a strategic coordination, a coordinated and innovative response. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pedro, for your nice presentation. And well, I am following the Q&A platforms that we have present from the social media networks or from the meeting at Zoom, and there is none. So I will take probably make a question for Domenico, if is regarding, as I was saying, that the pilot project seems to me very concentrated in Central Europe. So can you give us some ideas or the way that other regions from North, institutions from North or Galicia can engage in your work about artificial intelligence? Domenico, can you answer? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. It's a good point. Participation to the AI pilot is always open to all organizations that are interested in providing services and helping SMEs in introducing AI in their workflow. So each kind of organization being able to provide a contribution in this term is more than welcome. On a side, of course, participation to the pilot is something that has to be signed by and approved by the region, of course, but we are always talking with on the ground stakeholders. Just because we always started with the bottom-up approach, and we think it is the best way to operate in a concrete way in this field. So, in a sense, the first path a stakeholder can take to be involved in the AI pilot is, of course, asking us for more information about the way we can involve it inside the first demo project, for example, or inside the other demo projects that are being implemented in next months. So the first point is always get in touch with us, and we will better tune the participation of the stakeholder in this framework. Another way, of course, if given that we are always open to new ideas for demo projects, if there are new ideas or projects that are being implemented in this period about AI and AI application, of course, they maybe can be good ideas for new demo projects. So just simply ask us for an opinion, for a review of them, and we can just imagine to integrate them inside the implementation of new demo projects.
Thank you for your answer. It's really, I think the Vanguard initiative is very open in its governance. And maybe I will have a question for Farah Brahmi about the possibilities of financing, but also how is she has knowledge that the regions, the already 39 regions that are on the Vanguard initiative, have been financing their participation in the pilot projects. I don't know, maybe Farah wants Wim to respond. Please feel free to say whatever you want.
I'm not sure I understand your question, Raquel.
By your knowledge about the regions participating or the stakeholders participating in the pilot projects, how is the financing being doing? By projects at the European level or by the regions directly to the stakeholders individually?
Well, Wim has been around longer than me, but...
Okay, maybe, yes, I said maybe the question is for you or for Wim de Kinderen. If Wim de Kinderen could respond the question.
I mean, Raquel, to tell you the truth, I think it's a mix of both. I mean, the budget are using different sources of funding for their activities. They're also sometimes applying for European funding. So there are projects taking place inside the pilots. They benefit from the budget provided by the Vanguard initiative. So the budget that they get from the membership fee paid by the members. And then when it comes to private investment coming from companies participating in the pilot activities, I would say it's limited, but here it would be more a question for the pilot leads themselves or for the Vanguard pilot monitoring lead.
Well, thank you. I don't know if Wim de Kinderen could answer more about this financing the pilot projects as he is responsible for. Okay, so I thought Kinder was online, but it seems that he's not. So I think we are really on time. Couldn't be more on time than we are. And since there was no questions I will give to this conference. Very, I think what was very interesting, and I think we could just say goodbye and once more say thank you for all the participants that were with us in this morning and learning a bit more about Vanguard initiative. Thank you, and a very good day for all of